are you kind of surprised just how much Belal seems to hate you?
I am 100%. For some reason, I don't know what scenario is built in his head. We fought first time. Everyone's seen how the fight went. Ended in an eye poke. Now we're having a rematch. That's where it starts to end with me. You know what I mean? For him, it's kind of built up like a mad scenario in his head where, I don't know. It's weird. It's very weird.
He's bumping into each other. He's popping off. He's saying he's going to do all these mad scenarios to you and embarrass you, torture you is the word he used today. Do you think he's being out of character, or do you think he's realized like, oh, I'm going to have to start promoting myself to try and get these opportunities again? Or what do you make of his behavior this week?
I feel like he's trying to talk himself in the fight. You know, he's trying to convince himself that he's better than what he is. I feel. It's the only way I can see it. I can't see what else there is. You know. So yeah, that's it really.
Have you been training for Leon specifically for a while? Because I feel like there's been a couple champions since you've been on this run, and even he's fought Colby, he's fought Kamaru twice. But did you know it would probably be Leon again at some point for the title?
100%. I've been training for Leon since 3 years ago, since that fight. I've been wanting that fight back forever. So I've been watching him, paying attention to him, studying him. And like you said, I was just waiting as a backup for him and Kobe. And we weren't really training for Kobe. It was all just a camp for Leon. So it's basically one guy we trained for the last year and a half, 2 years. And yeah, we got dialed in.
And obviously since then you've been saying like, I'm going to walk through him. I could 50-42 this guy and all that. So I'm just curious, why don't you envision like a stoppage win? Because when we hear you talk, it's always I'm going to kind of drag him through the fire for 5 rounds.
Because I want to torture him. I want him to realize how much better I am than him. When you go out there, you get a finish. People, oh, you got lucky. You did this. Oh, it happened because of that. But if I go out there and dominate him and beat him in all aspects of MMA, wrestling, grappling, striking, jiu-jitsu, get him to the point of making him want to quit. That's what I want. I want to torture him. I want him to the point of looking at his coaches, and his coaches had nothing to say, and they walk away because they're embarrassed. That's what I want it to feel like on Saturday night.
Do you find it a little bit weird with some of the things that he's saying, considering how he usually fights in the cage, considering what he's saying is a little bit...
Yeah, it's contradiction, right? Like, when has he ever tortured anybody in the cage? Like, when has he ever knocked nobody out? When has he ever, like, he's even choke me out halfway, let me up, look at my brother, let me back up, look at my coach. I was like, bro, you're deluded, you know? He even came out today and said that, well, not today. I said that if he beats me, which he won't, he's topping GSP. Yeah, I mean, he's like, his boxing coach came out and said he's got the same hands as Canelo. He's like, how's going on? He's like, I don't know. It's a weird thing, but it is what it is.
The first time you fought him, you came out like pretty aggressive, really set the forward motion. Was that because you just saw something in him where I don't feel a threat from him, or is it because you had been on the sidelines for so long with COVID and all the rest of it? Why did you fight that aggressively in that fight?
A bit of both. I was believe I'm better than him, so I feel like I am levels above him, and that's the way I fought, and that's the way I'm going to fight on Saturday night. I truly believe I am levels above him, and Saturday night I'll prove that again.
Do you think you're getting under his skin at all?
I don't care about getting under his skin. I care about getting through his skin.
And obviously, we heard your coach compare you. He was talking about your boxing. He said, hands like Canelo and this and that. So is this something you've been focused on specifically for this camp, or have you always kind of been training your hands and this is just where you are now?
Yeah, I think every fight we're trying to bring something new, right? Every fight you see me evolving. So for this last year, all we've been doing is getting better and better and better in all aspects of MMA. I have the best striking coach in the world, and all we do is try to get better as ourselves. We don't really care what Leon's going to bring to the table because we know that our best version is the best fighter in the world. Our best version could be anybody in the world. So we sharpen our striking skills. We sharpen our boxing skills. People are going to hate it. They're going to say whatever they want to say, but you guys will see it Saturday night when I show out there.
He was in here saying, he's better than Kamaru, better than Colby.
Who is?
Belal said that he's better than... Well, you kind of asked my question. When you look at him compared to those two, do you think this is an easier fight?
I don't know. Let's see. I think Kamaru's better than him, obviously. But let's see. Like I said, I'm taking him serious because whatever he's using to convince himself to be in the fight, I have to take him seriously, But we'll see. Sunday morning, I'll answer it again.
Leon, Bilal's team are saying that his boxing is on the same level. Have you seen
Canelo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you make of that? And just touching on the hatred vibes that he's been giving off towards you. You seem the complete opposite. You seem like you
Yeah,
couldn't care less.
I don't get it. You know what I mean? I don't where it's coming from. You know what I mean? I haven't said much really, apart from like bantering. And for me, it's all banter. For him, it's like taking it deadly serious. You know what I mean? So, as far as the Canelo thing, I think that's like everyone knows. Hey, that's just what the fuck. You know what I mean?
Do you expect him to stand and strike with you for more than a few minutes in the fight, or do you know his game like the back of your hand at this point?
He might try to. You know what I mean? He won't have much success in it. I think everyone knows his game plan would be to come out and try wrestling. But even his wrestling ain't all that really. You know what I mean? He ain't a fucking Khabib or like a GSP. It's Belal. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know. Let's see.
Bilal, you've made it clear that just over here, Bilal. Yeah, you've made it clear that you hate Leon Edwards. You've said that numerous times throughout this build-up. Can you explain why you're using that word? It's a strong word. Why is it so personal for you with Leon?
It's very personal because when you look at, his path to the title and the way he did it, it's very similar to mine, right? He had to go the long road. Nobody was respecting him. Nobody gave him a shot. And then I took a fight on short notice against him. And he committed the foul. He injured me. And the fight got stopped because of that. So, there was a lot of, on my end, it was like my first main event. This is supposed to be my spot, my time to shine, this, and this. And it was like taken from me by him. And he wouldn't give me another shot. And then he tried to just play it off like, oh, I would have won anyway. I would have did this anyway. And then when you put that narrative out there, fans are just like, oh, well, he's probably right. So from there on out, I just had it in the back of my mind. I had that bad taste in the back of my head this whole time that, man, I want to feel what would have happened. I want to see what would have happened. And then I'm dominating all these guys, winning all these guys, and then they're still disrespecting my streak. Him, his coach, his team, they're still saying, oh, he's not next. We need somebody else. We need somebody else. We need somebody else. So the disrespect that he had, he felt it. He started giving it to me. So that's what pissed me off. That's what's pushing me to hate the guy. That's what's making me excited to make him bleed, to make him break.
You mentioned Khabib there. Khabib has supposedly come up with a game plan to beat you, and Bilal believes he'll do the same thing to you that Khabib did to Conor McGregor. And
I ain't Conor McGregor and he ain't Khabib. A man, like you can't use Khabib to credit yourself. You ain't Khabib. You didn't grow up with Khabib. You probably trained like for a little bit. That's about it. You know what I mean? I've trained with Khabib before. You know what I mean? What does that mean? It means nothing. You know what I mean? And he's using another man's work to gain confidence off his work. But you ain't put that kind of work in,
Has your opinions about Khabib changed at all throughout this? With him helping Bilal and helping Islam, who wants the belt that you've got right there as well.
No. I think it's still one of the best fighters to do it. And that's it.
Hang on right here. When in the lead up to this, Bilal's used phrases like he's going to 50-42 you. He's predicting like these dominant decision wins. When you
this like if it was me, yeah, I'm like gonna go like mad deluded and shit and just talk random shit. But like I'm going to fucking knock this guy out and like cut him up and like you want violence in it. Like, if I could like dream any scenario in my brain, I'll dream violence. I wouldn't dream fucking going to decision. You know what I mean? It's just a weird like thoughts that's going on. You know what I mean?
Well, you also called him the least intimidating person in the entire UFC.
And he is. You know what I mean? Like he is. Like there's zero. Like let's say like we're in the street and I saw Belal Muhammad, I wouldn't be afraid of him one bit. You know what I mean? And that's how I look at it. Like he's not intimidating one bit. You know what I mean? And that's it.
What happened with this run-in with you and him near an elevator or in an elevator?
That I was going up to floor 3. Opened. He was like standing right there in front, and I think he thought in his head that I wouldn't have came into the lift. I walked straight into the lift and press number 3, and that was it. Came out. Then it's weird because in the lift it was mad quiet. And then after the lift opened, everyone's outside. He's like, "Oh, pussy, blah blah blah." I was like, "Bro, why didn't you just say all this in the lift when it's just in the lift?" You know what I mean? But I don't know.
Well, he also said he was sizing your brother up in case he hopped over.
Oh god, that's funny.
I mean, he's not really doing media. He's whispering, right? He just looks stupid. I'd rather have his coach talk because his coach was talking trash yesterday. So it'll be a funner build-up talking with that little gremlin.
Yeah, speaking of that, that's the run in the elevator, right? What could you tell us about that?
Uh, I just heard like a little short freaking midget screaming something, and I was like, "What the heck was that?" And I saw it and ended up being his coach in front. But Leon and his team, they didn't say nothing. His brother was trying to give me a dirty look, uh, but he didn't know I was sizing him up for after the cage. If he ends up hopping in the cage, wanted to do something.
So you didn't talk to Leon at all in that interaction?
No, it was mostly just his coach.
You mentioned how your team has compared your boxing and your striking to Canelo. Do you feel like Leon and the UK fans are really underestimating your stand up and are going to be surprised on Saturday night?
Man, I really hope he is underestimating it. I've been underestimated my last 5 fights, and not one of those fights has been a close fight. Not one of those fights have been a hard fight. They've all been easy. And I said that Leon's gonna be my easiest fight. So what does that tell you? The fans, the people, that they could say whatever they want to say, they could doubt me, but my team, my family, they know how hard I work. They know what we do in the gym. They know what we're doing behind closed doors, and those are the only opinions that really matter to me.
After your win over Colby, you said you set your sights on becoming the greatest welterweight of all time, obviously surpassing GSP's 9 title defenses. The way the division's lined up, there's contenders like Shavkat Rakhmonov, there's Ian Gary, there's Jack Della Maddalena, and stylistically, you could argue they're better than the fighters that GSP
Yeah,
fought in his
100%.
prime.
Definitely.
So does this kind of make Belal somewhat of like a unwarranted, unnecessary pit stop in the journey to becoming the best welterweight?
No, I feel like all these fights are important. You know what I mean? Like Bilal will count just as much as me being Shavkat, me being Ian. You know what I mean? Because when it's all said and done, when I'm looking back, no, I'm on like a 10 fight defense streak. He's even part of 10. You know what I mean? So you have to take him serious, and I am. I did in camp, and yeah.
And do you think he's made any improvements since the first time you fought? Obviously, it was like nearly 3.5 years ago.
I believe so. I believe a little bit of improvement, but I feel like skill for skill and just the way his habits are is still the same habits. He still made the same mistakes that he did when we first fought, and I feel like my fights that I've had have prepared me better than what he's had. You know, and that's it.
And I don't know if you said you've seen him say some crazy stuff. He also said that he might deliberately lose the first round to lure you into a false sense of security. What's your thoughts on that?
Bilal, it's Bilal, isn't it? Bilal, being Bilal, I guess. So he's gonna come out, lose the first round, and then what?
Torture you, apparently.
After the first round, after he
No,
lost the first round. Okay.
Leon, just here, mate. Just going back to what his coach said about him looking like Canelo on the pads. When you're looking at him striking, does anyone pop to mind in terms of he doesn't look like Canelo, but he looks like someone else on the pads?
Who's a shitboxer? I don't know who a shitboxer is. Tommy, no, Tommy's a good lad. I don't know. No, I think Jet Pump knocks him out in a boxing match, just pure boxing. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Was there any like sympathy for Belal? Obviously, he was in a similar position to you, where he's on this long winning streak and he's kind of knocking on the door for the title shot and he couldn't get it. Was there any sympathy?
No, not really. Not really. I ain't got no sympathy. All right. The game is a game, man. No one has sympathy for me when I'm going for my shit. You know what I mean? So no, not really.
Belal, down here to your left. You mentioned obviously your deep-rooted hatred of Leon. We've seen fighters go into fights before with such hatred towards somebody, and it's affected their game plan. How are you gonna make sure that doesn't happen to you?
I think it helps me because the last 5 or 6 fighters I've had, a lot of them were nice guys like Wonder Boy, Maya, even Gilbert Burns, Luke. They're all nice. You're trying to figure out ways to fuel yourself. The Sean Brady fight, I fueled myself because he was talking trash. I was doubted so much in that fight. They said he was going to walk through me, and then that fuel made me go out there with a chip on my shoulder. That's the same fuel that's bringing this fight, but it's even more now.